Have you ever wondered why you need a specific standard to regulate quality management? Surely it's in the interests of every company to ensure that they make a good product or give good service. But remember, quality is ultimately more than just making a good product or being prepared to repair or replace faulty ones. The success of an entire project, including the time and money spent and future customer confidence, will rest on how you control the quality standards in each phase of project management. Project management is defined as setting up processes that ensure that the project will achieve the goal for which it was undertaken. If the final product or outcome of the project doesn't do what it was supposed to, the project has failed. To illustrate the point, here are 3 well-known case studies where the lack of quality control had catastrophic results. We are all familiar with the extraordinary and beautiful images captured by the Hubble Telescope in its nearly 30-year history. But you quite likely also remember the fiasco surrounding the terrible quality of the optics when the $1.5 billion telescope was first launched. You can see the discrepancy here. The first picture in this sequence was taken in 1993. The second was taken in 1994 after a hugely expensive correction was made to what should have been the most precisely ground mirror in history. What happened? You might expect that with such high requirements for accuracy and huge outlay and expense, that rigorous and meticulous quality control and testing would be the order of the day. But one minor error in the assembly of a new testing instrument, combined with time pressures, resulted in the optics company grinding the mirror into the wrong shape. And this was not the only issue. No one at NASA tested the completed telescope before it was launched. Following just a few simple control procedures could have saved billions of dollars and years of lost discoveries. If just a little time had been taken in the course of the initial mirror grinding process to verify the results of the tests coming from the incorrectly calibrated instrument, essentially quality assurance, the entire correction could have been avoided. In an effort to stay competitive with the increasing competition from overseas imports, the Ford Motor Company decided to release the Pinto in 1971. Generally condemned today as unattractive, it was the car's tendency to burst into flame when struck from behind that ensured its inclusion on Time magazine's 50 worst cars of all time list. It is estimated that up to 180 people died as a result of this design flaw. In the race to get the car to market, Ford cut the required design time from 3.5 years to only 2. Not only did this mean that critical testing time was cut, but that any design changes usually made before production was rolled out would have to be made during it. Once again, critical quality controls were ignored. The car became notorious, so much so that its propensity to explode was included in this movie. Ford had to fight multiple lawsuits, including one of criminal homicide, when it became known that they had decided to release the car, even though they knew about the serious flaw. Ford quickly became synonymous with crooked corporate culture. A quality control procedure integrated into the project from the start, which policed both the actual production, testing, and the questionable management decisions, could have prevented the loss of life. Lastly, consider the tragedy of the Titanic. The unsinkable luxury liner sank on her maiden voyage in April 1912, taking 1,517 people with her. While there were a number of factors involved in the disaster, some of the most important were linked directly to poor quality standards and in fact, subsequently, led to changes in the law, standards and attitudes to safety. The desire to cut costs led to the use of inferior quality steel in the plates and rivets used to build the Titanic. This could have directly affected the ability of the ship to resist the damage caused by hitting the iceberg. Another cost-cutting exercise was the decision to construct Titanic without a double hull, in what has been called a classic failure of risk management. The builders decided that a double hull was an unnecessary expense and only installed a double bottom. After the disaster, many liners were refitted with a complete double hull. Expense no longer seemed so important. Much is made of the fact that there were not enough lifeboats for all the passengers, and that some were launched even though they were not full. The enormous loss of life resulted in the establishment of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, which passed regulations requiring ships to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board. A consistent dismissal of the need of quality control from the beginning of the project in favor of cost saving, as well as a lack of quality assurance in favor of prevailing opinions and attitudes to safety at the time, resulted in one of the worst maritime disasters of all time. Clearly a case of a final product failing to do what it was supposed to. These case studies are extreme examples of what can go wrong when a careful and systematic quality control method is not put into place right at the beginning of the project. But it bears considering that if such expensive mistakes can happen to an organization like NASA, or if callous corporate culture is not strictly controlled by a thorough quality system, such as in the case of Ford and the builders of the Titanic, what impact could ignoring quality have on your organization? What is the best solution for this dilemma? Become ISO compliant and institute the quality management standards in every project you undertake. The ISO 9001 Quality Management Standard is internationally recognized and provides a structured way of doing business efficiently and effectively. When you have the ISO certification mark, it confirms that your business follows the best international practice and is a reliable and trustworthy service provider. Here at WWISE, we have made compliance with the ISO quality management standards simple and fun to learn. Our e-learning platform gives you the ability to attend courses at your own pace and in your own time, and presents templates, books, and videos that guarantee excellent value. Our facilitators have a 100% certification record, and we have a list of high-profile, satisfied customers. We also offer auditing toolkits, integrated software, and consulting services. Contact us today or visit our website for any queries or further information.